Hi there, I'm Lily and welcome back to my knitting podcast. This is my channel where I have some tutorials, podcasts, chat about my designs, my projects and all that kind of thing. It's been a while since I filmed actually. The aim was to do these approximately fortnightly and I did a few more often and then kind of been a bit busy over the last few weeks. I've had a haircut, I've been away to Wales a couple of times, I've been to some actual shops, I've been, doing all these groundbreaking things now that the world is a tiny bit open, so it's been a while since I last sat down for a chat, but that means I have lots to share with you today, which is quite nice. And I'm going to apologise in advance if I keep faffing with my hair really irritatingly. I've just got the fringe cut in and I don't know if I've quite figured out how to style it to keep it out of my eyes, so yeah. Apologies if I get really annoying with that. Yeah, new patterns. I don't think I have anything completely new that I haven't shown yet. Wait, yes I do, ignore me. Anyway, I'll start with the first thing, which is this item that I'm wearing, which is my Poison Apple top pattern, which came out yesterday. It's been very well received so far, which is lovely to see. Yeah, it's just really nice when people actually really like your design, so it's been fun to finally get this one out in the world. I have shown this completed before on my channel actually, just push that back. So yeah, Poisoned Apple top, named for obvious Snow Whitey reasons. Worked in DK weight yarn for the main body and sheer panel is made with lace weight silk mohair. So the yarn was very kindly provided by Shabui Knits for my sample. And if you keep an eye on my Instagram, there may be a giveaway coming up from that soon. A very nice giveaway. So yeah, the pattern is now out. I'll just show you a look. It is supposed to be waist length, these jeans are just a little bit lower, but we've got all these details. Little keyhole. Oh, I'm wobbling all over the place here. I think I'll just insert some photos, that would probably be easier, wouldn't it? Yeah. So I made it in navy, which is one of my favourite colours. I wear so much navy, but all the test knitter versions were, I don't think anyone did navy actually. A couple of people did like a dark purple and one did black, but they just look so cool in all the different colours, like doing it in a really bright variegated or in white, or quite a few people did it in like a mustard kind of yellow. So when I was putting the test knitter photos together, I of course had to do it by colour coordinated, put them together, which was very satisfying. And I love how the yellow ones look. I wish I looked better in yellow. I really don't. So I'll just have to admire that from afar. But yeah, that was so lovely to see how different it looks when people put their own spin on something. Because obviously I have the initial idea in my head, but it has a completely different sort of feel to it if you do it in a different colour or a different texture. So yeah, that was lovely to see, and obviously now the pattern is available, people can do it in whatever they want now, so I'm looking forward to following the hashtags and seeing on Ravelry what people post. If you do knit one, please tag me on Instagram, like actually tag me in the photo, not just the caption, then it's easier to find. Then sometimes just caption mentions can get lost, but yeah, I'm really happy with this one. I think it's a nice kind of all year round item. I mean, we're in May now and it's grey and rainy and cold and we've not had a single sunny day in a while, which is quite disappointing, but whatever, nothing you can do about it, is there? So yeah, I'm happy with it. I love my little Snow White sleeves, and all the techniques that were in the main body of it, the sort of short rows, increases, decreases, picking up stitches, all those tutorials were already on my channel, the sort of basics, but I've also filmed a tutorial for pleats, which I think this is the fourth or the fifth item that I've used pleats on somewhere. So yeah, they're one of my favourite details and they're super simple. You're just folding your needles over. So there's a tutorial for pleats on my channel and a tutorial for the button loop at the back. So yeah, I'll put photos in rather than trying to do an awkward try on here, but very happy with it and I hope you like it. So that's not the only pattern I've been working on recently. I think in my last video this was on the needles. Yeah, it definitely was, but it was nowhere near finished. So this is the Brightest Tee, named for obvious reasons. Let's just scoot Dolly around. So yeah, this was the yarn from Miriam from the Discreet Unicorn, who I know from when she used to work at Black Sheep. Lovely lady Miriam. So she dyed this yarn for me in the shade Pink Lemonade, and then I wanted to do it justice basically, so this became kind of a design based around something that you could show off really beautiful yarn with, or would also just be a classic item in a solid colour. No, nothing too fancy about the details, but just a really good fit was the most important thing here. So it does have quite a bit of negative ease, unlike this one, which is sort of zero ease. This one is a bit snugger. Oh, Jolly's a bit squeaky. Oh dear me. So it just has the tiniest little cap sleeves. They're barely even sleeves really. Just to get that slightly over the shoulder look, but I still wanted them to be quite snug, so no puffs in the sleeve for a change. Yeah, they're just trimmed in rib, the tiniest bit of rib down here. The rib also goes across the boat neck, which is shaped with short rows, and then there's a panel of rib down the sides, also at the hem, and the side rib panel is bordered, flanked, whatever you want to call it, with rows of eyelets down there. The back is exactly the same as the front if you work the regular version. If you work bust darts, which both of these patterns include actually, then obviously then your front is different. So it's been interesting to see who does and doesn't use the bust darts actually, because I've never used them. I'm a C cup, so you know, not nothing, but not exactly the bustiest person out there. So it's been really interesting to see how they fit, because obviously I do not have the means to test them myself. Not to test the fit of them anyway, so it's been really nice to see how they have actually come out. I might insert some of the test knitted photos here so you can see that the bust darts don't add any width. They basically just add some rows to this depth here, so that it's kind of tapered down to nothing here, and you get a few extra rows coming in up to the fullest point across between the apexes of the bust. So that basically just stops this hem from riding up. So you imagine if this had a much bigger bust in it, this is going to be a bit crude looking what I'm doing here, but this would be hiked out here if this had a much bigger bust, and then you see the hem comes up. So that is what we're mainly avoiding, not actually adding any extra width, but just meaning that the extra volume that is taken up by a bigger bust doesn't steal fabric from the hem. So that worked out quite nicely, and yeah, it's been good to see how the test knitted versions look. And I'm excited to have this one out in the world. I don't know why I just spun around again there. But that will be available on the 29th of May. Quite a few testers have already finished, but I wanted to allow people plenty of time, especially if anyone was ordering yarn. So I have this super bright pink version, and also I did mention in my last episode that this was a second version of an item that I made years ago. So this is the original Brightest Not Very Bright tee, which was made in Fibre Space Scrumptious 4-ply, made years ago, and it's pilled slightly maybe, but considering this was made, how old was I? I think I was 15, so what am I now? 8 years ago, and it's been worn like probably every year since. It's doing quite well. I did use a different construction method back then. I used to do my sleeves contiguously, is that even a word? Where you do sort of the shoulder fronts for both sides, shoulder backs for both sides, and then pick up along just that top bit of the shoulder, and then join to sort of work a mini yoke. But I found that to do that with such short sleeves, you then ended up with like four pieces that then became joined into 2 pieces that then you picked up, that then you cast off some, and it just was so many steps. Whereas doing it this way and just picking up the sleeves at the end, because you still have to pick up around this armhole at a later point. So it's like you may as well, there's no point picking up stitches, doing a bit contiguous, then picking up more stitches. I don't know why I did that originally back then, but sorry, I'm annoying myself with this hair already, but it's also annoying me being in my face. maybe I just need more hairspray. Yeah, so now these sleeves are just picked up at the end. Worked my usual way with German short rows to shape the sleeve cap, but you just don't do it for very long. However, if you did want to make this more of a covered sleeve cap, I wouldn't recommend going this far because the calculations haven't been done to give you the amount of volume in the sleeve. Yeah, I wouldn't do a full like down here sleeve cap, but you could extend it a bit with not really any more calculations, just continuing as set. So that's an option. So yeah, Brightest Tee and Brightest Tee Not Bright. Getting a bit of a tongue twister there, but just to add to that, I am, I think, going to, when the pattern is published, I'm going to make it so that you can get the Brightest Tee, and my pattern for a wrap, the brighter wrap, I need to get better at thinking of different names, don't I? That I showed you a couple of episodes ago. I'm not going to go and rummage and get it out now. The garter stitch bias knit wrap with fringe edging that has some short row change of direction in the middle. I'll insert another photo. I'm going to do that so that you can get the Brightest Tee with the brighter wrap will come free with it for possibly for a limited time. Well, yeah, probably. I'll figure out the specifics and I'll mention that nearer the time, but yeah, I'm going to do a little bundle deal on that. Just because the names go together, so it kind of felt like a little pairing. Yeah, and that's all I have to share on that one for now anyway. Some testers have fully ran with the brighter theme and have gone with neon green and all sorts of bright wacky coloured yarns. Some have done it in a neutral, and it's really nice to see. Yeah, as you can see here, I tried to avoid the pooling. I got this far to basically the end of the way shaping with no pooling, and then once I started working straight here, which is always a fairly lengthy distance. It's always a fairly long distance on me, this straight section. It started pooling and I was like, we got this far, I don't really want it to pool now, so I was kind of chopping and changing, working from both ends of the ball, changing yarns at different points in the round and sort of faffing about with it like that to try and stop the pooling. But some people have gone with the pooling from the start, and I saw one that was kind of working out in a tartan-like pattern. Yeah, it's fun to play with. But that's enough on that one for now, so I'm just going to push Dolly away. That's her sidelined. I can't remember when my last episode was, but I don't think my Erinome Sweater was out by then. So, another new one, but I have already, oh that's the back, have already shown you this one, but the pattern is out now. My drapey Erinome Sweater in lace weight, although as all the testers said, it knits up a lot faster than you would expect for a lace weight sweater because of the drop stitches and the loose gauge. Yeah. Worn this on quite a bit already, and it is out in the wild as of a couple of weeks ago, so you can also go and get that pattern. I'll link all these down below. All the patterns are available on my blog, my Ravelry store and my Etsy, which they have been since about last June in all three places. And it's quite interesting actually that like Ravelry was the first platform I used. I have been on Ravelry since like day one. I know there are a lot of issues with it now, so like straight away I got on the different platforms so that people can buy my patterns elsewhere. It's interesting to see actually, because at first I was like, is Etsy really a thing for knitting patterns? Because I've never gone to use it, but that's maybe because I've been on Ravelry since I was literally about 12. But it's growing. It seems to be, I don't know if that's that people are leaving Ravelry to go to Etsy, or whether it's just that my Etsy customer base is growing. I'm not too clued up on the Etsy algorithm, to be honest. It seems to be quite complicated. I know you can like pay to be seen more, haven't done that. Yeah, Etsy's growing, so that's nice to see actually. There's different platforms, and when the patterns are available on my blog, well, all the patterns are available on my blog, which uses PayHip, so that's just embedded in the blog post, and there's always quite a bit more information about the pattern in there as well. It's not just the product. I always do actually write a blog post about each one. So yes, and I'm hoping, well, planning, I will do it, to do more actual blog posts that aren't just about a particular item. I think it's nice to have a YouTube channel, and obviously it's like Instagram and YouTube and blog, and there's all these things to keep on top of, but some things are just best explained in a long form in written form rather than verbally. So I think I'm going to try and get back into doing more blog posts too. So if you have any ideas for things that you'd like to see a blog post on, because I guess they're sometimes easier to refer back to than a video, then yes, please do let me know if there's anything you'd like to see there. Just looking at my pile of things on the floor of what I have to show you. There's quite a couple more items. So my next item is something I haven't showed you anything like this before, because I haven't knit anything like this in quite a long time. But I had the opportunity to and seized it because it's so cute. It's so cute. So I know a little baby girl due to be born next month, and as I'm sure you will agree, any opportunity to make miniature tiny little cute baby things you jump on. So I'm absolutely loving making this. It's so tiny. I'm neating it up to show you. This, is it too tiny? I'm making this from a petite knit pattern. It's called Ellen's Playset, I think. So there's a cardigan with eyelets and then a set of bloomers, which I think are going to have to be striped in my case, purely for yarn amounts. And the smallest size is 0.2. And I mean, this baby's due at the beginning of June. And so I thought, right, well, I've got this cotton yarn that is left over from another project, it would be perfect. And so I thought, right, a cotton cardigan, but I want it to be able to be worn. You know, I don't want to make something that's grown out in like 2 weeks. But you know, who knows how big the baby's going to be. Yeah, I made the 0.2 size, but then I had a quick little DM conversation with someone who'd made this cardigan, so thank you for your advice, Marie. Saying she always makes the 2 to 4 months in this size, this pattern for friends' babies, and that had lasted until the baby was like 6 months old. Can't remember exactly what I was saying there, but yeah, I started with the 0.2 size, and I figured I can always just carry on increasing to the bigger size, and as it turned out my gauge was a little bit looser anyway. I think I was getting 26 stitches rather than 28 stitches to 4 inches. I mean, did not do a swatch. I always tell people to do swatches for garments, but when your actual item is this size, I was like, it's not much bigger than a swatch. I may as well just start, and then if I have to adapt the pattern to my gauge as I go along, then so be it. So, but I think that worked out quite well, that my gauge means it's a little bit bigger than the intended size for the 0.2. So hopefully, that's a long way of saying hopefully it'll actually get some use before it's grown out of, because I've done that before, made things for friends' babies and then they wear them like twice and it's grown out of, but oh well. So I'm going to do the bloomers. I think, I've not got it with me, in the beige of this yarn. This is Rowan Summerlite 4-ply in the shade Langoustino, which I have left over from a top that my mum made for me a few years ago. It's just so cute. I'm a firm believer that little girls do not have to wear pink, or little boys can wear pink. You know, colours have no gender, we can all wear whatever colours we want. But also, I flipping love this colour. As you can tell, I like my bright pink, so I didn't fancy knitting something in a baby pink. That's not really my taste anyway, but this pink, I love it for people of any age. And I just thought it was adorable, so yeah, working on that. I've got the sleeves left to go, and I have this much yarn left, which I don't know how much the bloomers will take. I guess on a baby the nappy covering part is as big as the top, isn't it? But yeah, that'd be my one bugbear with the pattern actually. Like, everything else has been completely smooth, no problems whatsoever, but the yarn amounts are only listed as you need 100 grams of this particular yarn, and it's like the same amount for a couple of sizes, so obviously just this is how many balls you need. It doesn't say how many yards, which, because I looked through on Ravelry looking at other people's projects and thought, right, I'm probably not going to have enough here with the 2 balls, so I'll have to, I'm thinking if the bloomers are in the sort of sandy beige colour with fine stripes of this, that's my plan. but also I need to have it ready by a baby shower next Sunday, so don't know how long I'll get on with that, because even though it's tiny, I'm having to limit my knitting time at the minute, which is really annoying because I've got so much to do. Like, my knitting calendar is full. But I've been getting kind of, not pain, but just twinges in my left elbow. It's sort of, I can feel that it's been stiff. Like, my right hand is the one that moves when I knit. I'm an English thrower knitter. And I have tried knitting continental too. I have cracked how to knit continental, but it doesn't seem to alleviate the elbow issue at all. I think it's just from having my left elbow fixed in position. It only moves, basically, goes like that, like the tiniest bit. So this joint is basically fixed. And I'm trying to, like, knitting on this chair, I've tried sort of spinning it round so that my elbow is resting on there. It's not really painful. I can just feel a sort of twinge and an awareness of the ligaments round there, and I really do not have time to get like knitter's elbow, tennis elbow, whatever you want to call it. I would be pretty much scuppered if I can't knit, so I've been limiting the amount of time that I knit in one go, and telling myself, right, that's it for the day now. It's twinged a bit, like, let's put it down. I also think it doesn't help that it's a kind of similar position. If I'm sat on my phone, if I'm sat holding my phone like this typing, which obviously I do quite a lot, both for work purposes and not, you know, we all do these days, don't we? That's sort of the same or a similar fixed angle of my elbow. And maybe because I'm right-handed, I will naturally move my right arm around more, and my left one is just sort of the support that sits still. So yeah, I'm having to limit the time that I spend on it, which is really annoying because I have so much to do. But I'm kind of like, right, well, let's see if I can head this off at the pass. I do not want it to get really painful. It's better if I have to limit myself to an hour of knitting a day. That's better than having to do nothing for months, because I would, you know, this is my job. I'm going to be really screwed if that happens. So I'm trying to be really careful with it because it's not nice. I can't really explain it. It's not a pain. It's just, I'm like, oh dear, it's not a good sign. So I'm trying to do plenty of stretches and rolling my wrists around. I think if as well your hands are kind of tense like that. I know there's videos on stretches for knitters and like the ergonomics of knitting and stuff, so I'm trying to read up on that more. But like yesterday I'd done quite a bit of knitting on this cardigan, the baby cardigan. I've been working on another project before that, but then I thought, right, I'm going to have to stop now. And this is the day that my pattern came out, so I'd also been on my phone doing all my Insta stories and comments for quite a while on my phone. And then I was like, right, well, I need to not go on my phone, and I need to not knit. And now what am I supposed to do with myself? Like, it was a Saturday evening, and it really bothers me. I'm just like, how can you have idle hands? I just can't do this. I ended up just going to bed at like 8:30 and reading a book. I thought, yeah, this made me realise how much I just sort of grab my knitting all the time, how big a part of my life it is. So yeah, that's annoying. I'm sure you can probably relate to if you can't knit, you're like, what am I doing with my hands? I get sort of twitchy hands when I'm not doing anything. So that's annoying, but hopefully I'll be able to head it off at the pass, and with some stretches and a bit of Voltarol, hopefully I'll be fine. Because yeah, I have a lot to knit over the next few months. I'll show you a bit of one more project. So I'm not going to show you too much here because this is for autumn, it's not going to be out for a good while. Yeah, this was a whole sweater almost, well, a whole sweater minus one sleeve that is now this big. But thankfully I have not had to rip it all back. The sweaters work bottom up, which is the opposite way around to that I normally work, and it seems no matter how many times I know that I have to add length because I am very long in this portion. I think I always underestimate the amount of length that I do need to add, and because I normally work top down, I can normally just keep trying it on and be like, right, no, a bit more. But working in bottom up, there's a little bit more guesswork with exactly how far into the armhole this bit's going to come. Like as you can see on this item, there's a little bit of room there but not too much. Sometimes I make them like right up in the armhole because that gives you a nice really fitted look. Sometimes they're further down, and there's just a bit more guesswork involved. And this project I was working on is in 2x2 rib for the body, and I think I just maybe underestimated how much it was all going to kind of pull up once you got the neck and the shoulders on, the arms even, sleeves, whatever. So that's a long way of saying that I made it too short. Why? Like, why do I not learn? It's always on me, this section kind of, you do your waist decreases here, which I do over a relatively short distance, because then I'm the same width from like the length of my hand there, however many inches that is. So this straight section, it's not that I need to space the decreases, increases, whichever way around I'm working it. It's not that I need to space them out any differently, it's just this straight section that on most patterns you find is about 2 to 3 inches. On me it's like I need a good 6 or 7. I'm just very long in the rib cage. And you'd think I would know that by now, but slow learner evidently. So yeah, I thought I really don't want to rip it back because everything else I was happy with. But yeah, it all kind of pulled up, which happens with this pattern actually. As a couple of my test knitters pointed out, because you can choose for yourself how deep you want this sheer panel to be. Mine's like my strapless bra is here and the line's here. I wanted it to just sort of skim the top of the bra. I wanted it to go quite low. But some test knitters made it like up here, some wanted it like proper cleavage on show and went a bit lower. So that's entirely up to you because you're working top down. But what is worth keeping in mind, which I did mention in the pattern, is that once you get this neckband on and the sleeves, it all sort of kind of pulls up a bit. And before the neckband's on, this looks a bit of a scrappy mess. Not a mess, but it doesn't look that nice. It needs the border. It needs to be sort of anchored at all 4 edges of the rectangle. So yeah, it all pulled up a bit, and the same happened with this, but the neckline itself was really nice, so I didn't want to rip that back. But it being in 2x2 rib, I thought, right, grafting this is going to be a challenge, but I can't see any reason that it's not doable. So I had a practice on a swatch. So I was like, right, sweater surgery is on, I'm going to have to just do it. Did my pre-op practice on the swatch, and it did work. So I haven't a clue what obviously when you normally graft you have like knit on, pearl off, knit on, similar kind of thing for an Italian bind off and many other techniques. But I did a bit of googling, and all the things for a 2x2 rib were for as if you were grafting like here, where you'd kind of come up in 2 directions and join together, whereas what I needed to do was splice together 2 bits that go in the same direction rather than like butting together here. So I had a practice and I managed to do it, thankfully. Did it in a contrast yarn to practice so that I could see exactly what I was doing, and it took quite a few attempts, but I kind of went for an intuitive approach of trying to follow like where would the thread go if it was an actual strand that was being knitted with, and did it like that. Because I found what I had to be careful with was that when you cut out a row and like split the item, so the top of the sweater is in a bag over there, this is the bottom of it. Obviously when you have stitches going up, so a knitted row is basically made from loops that go like this, that all interlock. That's all knitting is, they're just these V's that interlock. That's why when you unravel it you get the noodles. But when you put it on the needle, the stitches coming up from the bottom, you get the top of the V's, so you get sort of that section of it, and it's all the top of the V's. And then when you catch the needle of the bottom of the stitches, from like if I was putting these on the needle and these, you get the bottom of the V. So instead of getting a row like this, the top loops, you get the bottom loops. So obviously they normally, I don't know what I'm trying to demonstrate here, they normally like intersect obviously like that, but you get one row with these and one row with these. So if you just grafted it together like you grafted toe of a sock or anything else where you'd just be grafting, you would end up half a stitch out, and that would create a very ugly line. That would be bad surgery, that would leave a really big scar. across the whole sweater, and that was obviously not an option. It would be preferable to rip the whole thing back and start again than have a big line of it all being out of sync. So I haven't added enough length to this to get to that point yet, but that's going to be a job for doing in broad daylight, right by a window, when I have my wits about me. I think that's going to be a first thing in the morning kind of job to do that. But yeah, when I can show you the finished item and everything, it should be quite nice. I hope you like that one, but that's a few months off, so can't really do anything else with that for now. I think that's all I've had on my needles. Oh no, it isn't. I had another project that was a design for another brand. There's an accessory coming out this year, but A, I can't show that yet because it's not out until later this year, and that's theirs to show, not mine, and B, I don't actually have the item. I've already posted it off to them, so that was another project that I was working on in the meantime. Yeah, I've been quite busy, and then I thought maybe this is why I'm getting sore arms, because I've actually knit quite a lot. This Brightest Tee will be, I think, my 8th pattern out this year, and that's only the end of May, so it is going to be going quieter from there. I'm going to try and still do a few more designs, but I'm mainly working on autumn stuff, so I think over the summer, whilst I'm away, by away I mean like Scotland and Wales and the Lake District, I'm not going anywhere out of this country yet, so that hopefully I don't have as many pattern launches going on whilst I'm away. That's kind of the plan. And I think I'm hoping to film some YouTube videos whilst I'm out and about as well. I did film some clips in Wales where I actually went twice. The first time we had great weather the whole time, and the second time it was a bit rainy, but we were in a town called Aberdovey in Wales for a couple of little short trips, which was really nice. And I did take some clips thinking, oh, I might kind of tag them on to the end of a podcast, which is quite random because obviously they're not knitting, they're like us out and about for a walk and around the beach and everything, but I thought you might just like a little change of scenery. So I haven't looked back through those clips yet, but if they're half decent I will insert them at the end here. If not, then just ignore everything I just said. But yeah, I kind of quite like sharing bits of day-to-day life on my Instagram as well, because I do have two accounts. I have my knitting account, which is Lily Kate Makes, and my other account is just personal, which is just Lily Kate France, that I've had for years, and that was kind of my modelling page for the last few years, and I mean modelling's just gone fairly quiet lately, in general I think, but also with me, but that's fine. This is far more satisfying to be in control of my own business rather than always at an agency's whims, so yeah, that's fine with me, but I'm not really using my personal account for anything anymore. I basically forget it exists. So anytime I'm out and about, I've been then sharing photos on my knitting account, and kind of, I'm hoping that doesn't put people off, that you know, it's like this, we're here for knitting, we don't want to see where you're going for a walk, but who knows, we all like a bit of travel escapism these days, and we can't go anywhere, don't we? So I might kind of add little bits in. Let me know your thoughts on that. You know, when I can visit yarn shops. I've been to one yarn shop. Black Sheep Wool's my favourite big shop. Is it the biggest? I don't know if it's the biggest in the UK. It's definitely one of the biggest, who I've known for years. So I went there, which was lovely to see everyone and have a catch up and make some plans for later in the year. I didn't buy any yarn because I have yarn coming out of my ears these days. I've just got yarn more than I can knit with. But I did pick up some needles actually. I forgot to mention those. These are I have no idea how to say it, liquor. Please someone tell me how to pronounce this. Some fixed circulars, because, well, a lot of the needles I've had for quite a while, and while that's fine, sometimes on the interchangeables or the joins can sort of start to go a little bit, or the odd one that Kat's had a nibble of, so it's like snaggy, and you know, they get a lot of use, so sometimes they're looking a bit tired, especially I find the long cables with interchangeable needles, because they're what I tend to use for magic loops, so they obviously get the most wear and tear with constantly being pulled through and swapped around and twisted, so I have broken a few of those, but I thought, right, could do with a few more needles for a particular yarn weight, and I wanted the fixed needles that have the size printed on them, because I don't know about you, but I don't yet have a perfect system for organising my needles, and I just find it much easier if they have the actual size on them. So bought a few of those, and that's it. I think that's everything I had to cover. I've probably waffled for plenty long enough now anyway, so thank you for watching if you've made it this far. I really appreciate anyone who does watch and like and subscribe and, you know, all that YouTubey stuff that I always forget to say. But yeah, it's been a fun few months for me in the knitting world, so thank you for watching, and I will see you again soon.